Today, I've got an incredible guest for you, the lovely Abigail from Rose and Thistle Social Limited. As a director, social media manager, and mentor, she helps service based businesses turn their offline success into an online powerhouse through strategic social media marketing with a special little focus on Instagram. With over 5 years in the industry, Abigail knows exactly how business owners are leaving money on the table, and she's here to make sure that you don't. As a sought after speaker, an award nominated expert, and someone who really keeps it real when it comes to the ups and downs of growing a business, this is going to help you to focus on attracting more leads, making more sales, and actually enjoying social media, which is really important. So, this is a great conversation for you if that appeals. Abigail, welcome to Success on Your Terms. It's lovely to have you on. We were just talking then about our connections and how we know one another because often it feels like a big world, but it's a very small world. Let's jump into it. Talk about who you are. I know your business has been established for over 4 years now, so take us a bit on your journey.
Yeah, so I'm Abigail and I'm the director and founder of Rose and Thistle Social Limited. And interestingly, my business journey was a bit rogue actually. So I have a 5 year music degree, so nothing to do with marketing at all. And basically fell into a head of marketing role post graduation, which was peak COVID, and was asked to be head of marketing of this events company in Glasgow with no marketing experience. So it was very much learn on the job. Everything was digital because obviously the event space world had shut down because of COVID.
Right.
So they were like doing tons of digital marketing and I was just learning, learning, learning. I then started an Instagram blog where I was just documenting all this learning, meeting new people. And all of a sudden, kind of 6 months down the line, people were asking if I did social media for business owners. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And that kind of started my freelancing journey. And then August time in 2023, I converted to an actual kind of limited company, a tangible thing that felt a bit more real than just a kind of side hustle. So now I work with established service-based business owners who have got a really well-established offline presence and are ready to, elevate their business that little bit more by coming into the online space, into social media.
It's incredible. I love the fact, again, when you ask this question, you just hear a bit more about people as well. And your music background, I was very much drama background,
I
then
love
fell
it.
into retail, was good at it. And I was like, oh no. And then started earning money. And I'm like, oh, I might just stay. And then they were like, you're really good, do this. And then I always say, because we know success isn't linear, but my
Yeah,
journey years ago was very linear. I just did well at it. And the next thing came and I did well. And then that thing, I loved it, which helped.
amazing.
And then I kind of hit the ceiling. But it's great to hear about again. I love what you share about learning and doing a job, and I also love what you say about documenting. It's so important.
Yeah.
So, what's what's kind of the thing that you're really known for if you were to share that with people?
Yeah, so my big thing is video content. I'm really into like personal branding, but doing that via video because a lot of business owners, they don't think about having a kind of face of the business
Mm,
or they don't have the same confidence to, jump on stories and record a
sure.
video or chat about what they do. And I think a lot of people are focused on selling and I'm trying to get them away from, it's not just sales. We want to like learn about you so people can build that trust with you then will want to buy from you essentially.
That's really important. And it's like messaging, which
Yes,
it's the everybody wants a lead to sales. It's the big thing, or they think they need that. And I'm often sharing like what you think is your problem isn't your problem. And it's not
yes,
about the leads or the sales that comes, but you've got to get your ideal client right. You've got to get your messaging right. You've got to, again, like I just asked you there, like, what do you want to be known for? How
yeah,
do you talk about that with confidence, with clarity, so it captures someone's attention if you're at an event or you're online, like you just say, or, doing video content, you have like seconds to do that.
that's it. Exactly that. And I think business owners try and like get everything out there because they think if I just put it
Yeah.
all out there, something will bite. It's like, no, it's too much. Like we're overwhelmed. You need to just break it down
Yeah.
and see, build up from there.
Yeah. So that's a great point to put there. Linking that with going back to documenting, because I think there's something
Yeah.
massive in that. When you're saying again, and even the challenge of faceless business versus you don't, like you're fine to. I'm absolutely fine to, and I often say my one of my superpowers is I'm just super confident, which
Yeah.
really does help. It's just the gift, and we all have our own gifts, and it's about understanding what they are. How can you take people on a step by step of what that would look like if you haven't got the confidence to show up, you're not really sure what to document, and it all feels, as you said, really overwhelming because that's definitely a buzzword I hear quite a lot.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Overwhelming time constraints and consistency is the three things I hear
Yeah.
constantly from business owners when it comes to social media. And I think it's just finding little tips and tricks that work for you. So when it comes to confidence on camera, I like have three sort of things that I promote people to do. So it's either if you don't like looking at your face, you don't have to use the front facing camera. Turn it around, look at the back so you're not having to look at your face. Because some people just have that fear as soon as they see their face on the other side, it's like, oh, my glasses aren't sitting right and I can see a reflection. And oh, my nose looks a bit funny and my lipstick's all over here. You know what I mean? So like we start picking these things, then it's like, oh, my hair's not great. You know what? Not going to do it today. Just leave it. So if you're having that back camera on, you're kind of already shutting that first barrier and you're ready to kind of rock and roll. The next thing I always hear is they don't like hearing their voice back.
Okay.
Don't listen to it back. Just put captions on and read it and make sure it makes sense so you don't have to hear your voice back. And then the last one I always hear as well is just I don't know what to say. Don't know where to
Yeah.
begin. Where do I kind of go with it? Write a little script for yourself. There's great apps nowadays that have got teleprompters that you can literally just read off. Some people are really confident in just reading off a screen, and that makes life so much easier. Or just do
Sure.
it in little chunks and stick it all together. There's, again, so many great, free, easy to use apps now that it's so simple to just be like, I'll record this sentence and then stick it onto the end, record this sentence, stick it on the end. And a lot of people are doing content like that these days. So that's my sort of main barriers that I hear and see, and the best ways to kind of get over them.
Yeah, you're right about that. There's like your long form and then cutting that into the short form as well.
Yeah,
And they're great points there. It is about, I think, the gap where overwhelm fits in very nicely is when people are here and they look so far into the future and it's like, oh, I won't even get started today. Or like you say, or I'll wash my hair today and I'll start tomorrow.
yeah,
And it's that probably that thing today of just showing up and just being vulnerable and genuinely authentic in that, like, I sometimes go for a run and I'm like, there's no makeup or anything sometimes. I'm just like,
yeah,
this is hell today, or oh, this was amazing today. But sharing both sides of that as a business
that's
is
it.
really important.
Yeah, and it's that authenticity and that trust building. So when you start seeing like you say, when you've been out for like a sweaty run
Mm.
and you come, you're looking at the store and you're like, God, that's what I look like 90% of the time. And look at this person, they're just showing up. And it shows that side that you're like, I can see myself in them as well. And that's the bit that's building trust with people.
How has the growing your business and coming, especially through times of COVID with that, have the challenges or have you embraced the challenges over the last few years? And what do you see coming up as some challenges into the new year with what we're talking around?
Oh, great question. I think in terms of kind of challenges for my business per se, during COVID, obviously social media was a massive thing, and it was really easy for all business owners and all of us to grow a social media following and engage communities because we had nothing else better to do than sit on our phones and scroll social media. Nowadays, obviously, attention spans are shorter than what they were during kind of COVID and things, and the people are too busy now. People are really busy, and the last thing they're doing at the end of the day is scrolling through social media. And you've got to really position yourself as that kind of the go-to person, which is so hard in such saturated businesses. For example, how many social media managers are out there? Like I know in my area alone, we've got over about 50, and that's only in Edinburgh, which is quite a small, place in comparison to places like London, Manchester, Birmingham. So in that small community, you've got to find a way to stand out from the crowd, and it's difficult, but it's just finding what makes you different from everyone else, and that's sharing your experiences, and that kind of falls where I was about talking about the documenting the journey. Everyone's journey into business and what they do is so different and positions them in different places. So, like my musical background, there's not very many social media managers out there who can say, they've got this really creative background in music and how that can transfer into the marketing space and things. And equally, there's people that have got, digital marketing apprenticeships that I'm working with, and they've been able to use those skills. Or someone that I'm coaching at the moment has got a contemporary arts degree, and I'm like, there's so much that you can do with that and shout about that makes you different from other people. And it's just finding that like special superpower that you've got in a cliche
Yeah.
way, that you can shout about and show people, this is why I'm different and this is going to help me overcome those barriers.
Yeah, you're bang on with that, and it is about just getting out there and doing it. I used to
Yeah.
say corporate like JFDI, just yeah.
Yes.
And there is an element of that. And like you saying, the documenting will help with that as well and feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I also
Yes.
think what's coming to mind here is, getting the right people around you, which I say is always one of my top five
A
keys, and in
1000%.
art. But also having that mentorship, and you just don't know what you don't know. And you also, it's very hard in this world. People compare a lot, they do.
Yep.
And I always like to use a frame again, very corporate, but benchmarking, that it's not a comparison, but it's a benchmark. And it's the ability to divorce the emotion from your business to say, this is where I'm at, kind of these are the hours I do put in. I'm not going to compare it, but if I was benchmarking against somebody that's doing very similar, where are they at and what does that look like? Or what, do I need to know? And it's having those people around you, but
Yeah.
also more so sometimes because we're so instantly and naturally able to just bully ourselves into that we're just not good enough or we're not there and all those things and give ourselves the hardest time as worst critics, probably the better way of putting it. But actually, again, to go, actually, I'm doing it all right. This is okay.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I'm not there, but I'm going to stick here and do that. And I was sharing this. I did an in-person day for the mastermind yesterday, and I was just sharing it with my mentor. And I was like, 2 years ago, I was at her mastermind in a room in the same place, thinking like, oh, this would be my vision. And then you're there. And I say this to clients all the time, you have to be really careful on an entrepreneurial journey that you aren't, you're living your dream potentially of a few years ago, but your headspace, as we said, with the overwhelm, is just onto the thing of I'm not doing enough, I'm not out there, or it's not
Yeah.
working. Because absolutely what we're saying with this social media and content is you just have to adapt and be agile to, like you said,
100%.
position yourself very strongly and what do people want and need, and absolutely delivering on that one thing.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny you say about the like bringing people together and having that nice close circle of people. It's one thing I think a lot of people that work in the digital space or the self-employed space forget, like you need to go outside and, the standard touch the grass and like meet
Yeah,
people offline as well. I think I definitely sort of social media managers or social media marketers that are kind of in my age bracket, so kind of late 20s, a lot of us just sit at home alone on social media scrolling, sitting on your laptop all day. And actually, the thought of going to a networking event for people our age is like, oh, I can't think of anything worse than,
yeah,
being in a room of people who are just chatting about how their children are going to school and, I've got to wipe the baby's bum and all this kind of stuff. And, for people our age, we're like, we're just not there yet. But you know what? There's just something about still being in that room of people that is just so inspiring. And I think it's because you're seeing like these people with like three, four kids that are able to run a business and, be a mum and all that kind of thing. And I love surrounding myself with people like this because it is just so inspiring and nice to hear other people's struggles offline as well and just
yeah.
give you a bit more reality check, I think, behind what we're doing.
If someone was wanting to start out, because I know some clients that have the kind of the idea stage and things, and one of them
Yeah.
is talking around the idea of social media managers and doing that, because actually what she was going to go into kind of feels like, well, we're going for that because it may be like the passion project side of things, where
Mm,
actually your skills are very good in, you just go and do all the other stuff and you keep putting it off. It's like, what is this other stuff you do? Because there could actually be, that could be the avenue and a pathway that
yeah.
is going to take us somewhere. How can someone know whether it is something that they want to explore and do, especially where we're saying essentially it's, we're not saying it's saturated because I don't necessarily believe in that at all, but it's demanding, it's competitive, but I
Yeah.
think most things are nowadays.
100%. And I think it is just finding what it is that lights you up. Like it might be that, ads are your one thing that lights you up. It might just be
Yeah.
that you love creating video content. You love, storytelling. That's actually one thing. There's someone I came across at a networking event here in Edinburgh, and her passion is storytelling, and
Right.
she's so, so good at it. And I'm like, oh my God, you need to be telling more people about this because
Yeah.
a lot of people aren't, leveraging storytelling at all, and it's just
Get
talking about
it.
experiences. And the way that she does it is just so well articulated. I think she actually has an English literature degree, which might help. But, it's that side of things. And I think find that one passion and just go all in on it. Because if you don't, you're never going to find out if it's working, if it's not working. And try it with, family, friends. You always, if you were to post on Facebook, like a Facebook status today, you will find at least two or three people in your, Facebook friends that run a business or have some sort of side hustle that they could do with, just some pointers on their social media. And if
Mm,
you put that out, give it a go, see what happens, and you might find, okay, I've found my like niche per se or your special power that you can then leverage that way. One thing I did a lot of when I was first starting out was free work. And I know there's a bit of like love-hate relationship with, should we be working for free? Should we not?
Yeah.
I honestly do think like the volunteering work I did and all that really shaped how I built my business and what it was that I looked for. Because I've been there, I've had those clients that, try and WhatsApp me at 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday, and the last thing I want to be doing is, monitoring their WhatsApp on a Sunday night. Or, you get the client who's they've approved the post, but as soon as it goes out, it's like, oh, actually, can we change this, this, and this? And it's again 8 o'clock on a Monday night. You're like, no, that's not what I want to be doing. But again, by doing that free work, I've been able to see, okay, these are the kind of people I like, these are the kind of people I don't like. So when it comes to building the business, I know it's this certain type of person I want to attract, and they've got the budget to do it, and they've got the knowledge, and they know understand how marketing works, and they understand that social media isn't a quick fix for business. It's
Right.
actually a long-term marketing strategy.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it is really important everything you share there. There's so much just within that. And you're right, nothing is though. Everything is got to be the longer term strategy of stuff and where is it taking
100%.
you? And what are you focusing on right now is so important. And I guess when it comes to social media, what's working really well right now that people could lean in on that would help them to, I guess, sometimes they just want the next steps or to feel like something's working. What are you
Yeah.
finding that's working really well in 2025?
Right now, personal branding is like it's
Yes.
the buzzword of 2025, I feel, isn't it? Like it
Yeah.
really is. But that personal branding and storytelling are really just changing the game for people's businesses. Like if I think of, I don't know, Grace Beverley, for example, who's got
Right. Yeah.
Tala, Shreddy, the productivity method, whatever else she does.
Yeah.
Like I don't ever think of those three brands that she runs. I just think of her. And
Right.
like, and then I would go to her to then find, Tala for fitness wear or Shreddy if I wanted supplements and whatever. Or again,
But look how you know that,
but
right?
yeah, exactly. And that's
That's
because of
what,
her, not because
right.
of seeing those three brands online. So it's
Yeah.
that side of things, and it's investing in, it's almost like people want to invest in the person first, and then
Yeah.
the products and services come as almost like a byproduct of you.
How do you sorry, how do you define personal branding?
Oh, great question. I think it's everyone takes it in a different light.
They do, and like we
Pers
said, it is a buzzword. You're bang on, but sometimes
yeah,
things are buzzwords. Like we'll define it, and then people are
yeah,
like, "Oh, it's interesting to see."
yeah.
For me,
I
it's
sorry.
your reputation. It's
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. I would say it's your story.
Yeah,
It's your story, it's your journey, and it's what you've done to get where you are, and what's also not worked, because that's something that we don't chat about enough as well, is the things that haven't worked. Recently, I've spoke to two people actually, and both of them have had like big struggles in business. So one opened a studio and is now having to look at closing it down because it's just not working for her anymore. Another one had a team of two, three kind of employed people in her business, and now she's let them go because it's just not the right fit for her right now. And she doesn't actually want to scale into a big agency. She just wants to be a one-man
and
band.
that's so okay, isn't it? I was talking about this
Yeah,
the other day. So I co-work with some people sometimes in London because it's just again just to get out, it's great space, works really well for me to bounce ideas. And we were saying again, and even yesterday on a mastermind day, talking about like what's your relationship failure? Because it's okay. It's the invitation to learn. It's that there isn't, when people say it's not failure, it's learnings, all of this.
that's it.
But we do have to get closer to. But I've a thing I worked through a few years ago, which was a real challenge, even corporate, was time for money. Like I earned
Mm.
that, and it's like bills were paid. Didn't think about it, and I was like, crap. Like, well, who pays the mortgage? What
Yeah,
happened? That was a real huge fear when I left because
yeah.
I knew that that would tip me over the edge of the stuff that keeps you up at night. And I was like, I'm pretty sound on most things, but that's not going to do it. I was like, that's going to be my wake up thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, how do I then overcome it? And how do I manage the failure? And we do as entrepreneurs, we need a bit of that to be our driver and our motivator, 100%.
Oh, yeah. And it's actually funny because when I first started my business, up until about January 2024, so I started kind of January 21 is when I got kind of big into it. And I was literally on this upward trajectory this whole time.
Yeah.
I'd never kind of had a dip or anything, like everything was just going on the up. And then January 2021, I had a client who wanted to take their socials in-house, and I had another one who tragically passed away, like all of a sudden. And I lost about £1,000 worth of retainer clients, and I just got a mortgage 4 months before then.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, what happens now? And
Yeah.
do you know what? Because I'd never experienced that kind of downward trajectory
Yeah.
before, I just had no idea like what to do. And I'm like, okay, I just need to sell more, but how do I sell more? And oh, it was a time, put it that way. It was a time.
It is.
But
I mean, I did the first few years, I did one-to-one solid, and then went in to do the group and launched that and did 3 runs of that. And I got to the end of the year and I just said to my mentor, I was like, I'm bored. I was
yeah,
like, I get boring skin in business. I do believe it is, but I was at the board of like, I'm doing something I probably that doesn't light me up. It's a better way of reframing it here. And it just, I said, it's valuable and things like that. I said, but it's not my one thing. And I was like, I'm not cutting through the noise in that way of getting attention. It's just everything and everybody's doing everything. I was like, I want to just be known for something. And she said like, and she's got this skill that her skill is just to like laser focus, see through and go, it's this and nail it. And you do feel uncomfortable. She's like, it's messaging. And I was like, oh God, but
Mhm.
I see people doing it, but not everybody's doing it. And we know people need it, but what do I do? And
Yeah,
I had to completely just go like it was backwards. It was like I had right and back to square one again with the audience because what I built isn't probably some of them all the right people for this. So I had to do a lot of research on, yes, I do have a skill set in messaging and I love it, but I had to go and research it. And to be the
yeah,
expert, I have to go and do that work. And that's okay as well. If you want to completely either pivot or shift or change something, but you know you're going to have to go and do that work as well. And I went
that's
all
it.
into like 2 months solid. I literally read everything I could, got involved every person that was doing something on messaging of like, right, I'm in there to see how they do it, what they share, what's important,
Yes.
what are the themes, what is it, how do I define it in that own way and put my own spin on it to this is how I've done it and this is how you can do it too.
Yeah.
And it's over and over and I went through the dip of like what on earth am I doing? Like not believing in myself and the confidence dip. And then again, it was the mentor that was like, this is just the confidence dip, get back on it. And then you do, and then I tested a beta and I did that for 3 months and I was like, this works well. That does not work at all. And it's
Yeah.
that part of the failure where you divorce emotion, go, this is working really well, this isn't working really well, do more of this, and you just keep going. And as you said at the start, it's the time and it's the
Yeah.
patience and it's a consistency. And if we could bottle it up, I'm sure we'd be billionaires.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. But yeah, it's exactly that. And I think it's people remembering that it's the same with social media content. You dial up the stuff that does well and you dial back the stuff
It
that's
is.
not working. Because what's the point of, you're putting out, let's say 5 posts a week and you're just chucking them out into the void, nothing's happening. But
Yeah.
why keep wasting your time? You may as well do one really good post every week than, doing these five that are just not actually bringing anything to the business.
You said it a bit hesitantly earlier about free value and giving stuff free. I'm a big believer in it. And again,
Yeah,
like we know marketing, we can back up anything if you want to go and find a research behind it.
that's
That's
it.
my view. I am a huge believer in give everything, give loads. And people say, oh,
Yeah.
we can do that, and oh, it's too much. Like half of the people are stressing on too much, and actually, if they've just given it, they probably get more clients because they've just wasted all the emotion
Yes.
stressing about whether to do it or not. The reality is, the problem people have is the action implementation now. They've done the courses, they've done the work, that they just need to do the steps and get it done in the certain areas where there's a gap in their business. And again, they need to know that problem. And when you're in that, when you're able to see that it's the action, it's implementation, it's going to do it, you're able to make better decisions and quicker. And I was in that space end of last year. Again, went to my mentor, was like, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm going next year. And we're like, right, it's ads now. Like
Yeah.
I'd done everything organically. I tested it, that runs, it works. Let's just put it on steroids and put it on ads. Let's
Yeah.
go for it. And of course, it is working quite well. So I'm not working with those people where I'm saying, oh, it doesn't work and Facebook ads don't work. It's like, no, it just doesn't. Like I haven't made it work for me. It's not that it doesn't
Yeah.
work when it works for billions of people in the world. Test, test, test. And I also know that will have a time frame and that won't work and something else will have to. But I do believe, like you're saying, I often say to clients starting out, just go and find 5 people who your ideal client and what you want to help them with and get master like incredible reviews from them, like
Yeah.
incredible testimonials, deliver really well because even delivering really well is a challenge for some people.
100%.
Be known for it and then like you say, document that and then build on it. And it's a
Yeah.
consistency in that. And those are even just the small steps in having your idea, get out there, people that need it, help them with the challenge they've got. You have the solution, document how you did it and do it in more people.
Yeah, exactly that. And you know what? That's like the perfect recipe of a social media post right there.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the best social media posts I'm seeing right now and the ones I'm so engaging and I'm like, I want to buy from this person are the ones that's like, Sandra came to me and she was feeling XYZ. Here's what we did for her. Now Sandra's feeling ABC. those posts are the ones that are actually getting people into the sales funnel for you because
Yeah,
it's showing what you do, the classic screenshots of like what Sandra sent me today, like she's just hit her first, I don't know, fully booked
yeah,
month, like she's got no more appointments left and whatnot. It's those posts that get people so excited and think, God, that could
yeah,
be me in like two,
yeah.
3 months' time. That's the
And
kind of
again,
stuff that's
what's
working.
fascinating is there was somebody I saw on my socials a while ago, a couple of months back, and they put about stop posting these screenshots. They don't do anything. And I was like, do you know
Oh,
what? They do something for me. And again,
yeah,
like you can back up anything. That's fine. I think they do work. And because
yeah,
why? Because trust, like you're saying somebody, you invest this, we do XYZ, and you get that. And
yeah,
that's what people want. They want the steps, they want the clarity, they want the certainty and confidence
that's it.
that they're going to get a result with. And fairly put, like the hard-earned money that they have that they really value. They
Yeah,
don't want to be caught in a trap of investing in somebody that doesn't get the results for them. But this does come down to like you've got to do the work, as we said. Like this
yeah,
is going to be. I always say to people like, don't think this is done for you with Nat. Like this isn't. I will
yes,
give you what you need, and I can help you, and we can go back through stuff, and I will give 100%, like you say. I'm there at that 8, 9 o'clock because I love what I do.
yeah.
But I'm not going to do that for you. You've got to do the work.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, that's something I've been speaking about with my mentoring clients. So, as well as the social media management side, I do mentoring for freelance social media managers who are ready to, become full time and really take their business seriously and not this little side hustle that they're building. And something we've been speaking about a lot is how the services that a social media manager does for you are not done for you services. So, a lot of people think social media management is a done for you service, as in,
Yeah.
we'll take all the work from you and you'll be able to, go to Barbados and live your best life or take your kids to the swimming lessons and you don't have to think about social media, which is true to some extent.
Yeah.
However, social media management is a done with you service. And
Yeah.
it's something I'm now shouting from the rooftops because I don't think enough people do
And
think
you're
about
right.
it.
And that's important. I listen to a lot to Alex Hormozy, which is never a shocker to my clients because I bang on about him all the time.
Oh, I
But
do love
I was
him.
saying the other day, again, like, but again, you attract people that like the same things and like us. But
Yeah,
he talks the same thing, like, like you've got to just do the work. And it's often same with ads. Like I'll say to people, I'm doing ads, it's not working. Well, where are they going to on the ads? What do you
yeah,
mean? Like, well, when they come into your funnel, where do they then go? What do they get? What's the nurture process? Like, how do you pick up with them? When's the offer? What's what? Where is the A to B? Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. And it's like, but that's the part that that then that's on to you. You go and do that part, the next steps.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. And yeah, it's a partnership when you're like working with
Oh,
anyone, I always think, no matter what service it is, even if it's, someone doing your ironing, for example, you've still got to, package the ironing up and take it to them or like deliver it to the door or they've got to come and, you've got to physically still give it to them. Although they're doing the main bulk of the job, there's
mm,
still a bit that's there for you that you've got to pick up as well. And I
sure.
think especially with service-based businesses, it's reminding people that although it's a service and not a physical item you're getting, there's still a partnership there that's got to be developed that a lot of people forget about.
Yeah, that is so important. It's why things like this and getting your voice out there and your message is so important. So
Yeah.
people get the right information and know that and what they need to do as well. Because otherwise it can be that's when the overwhelm again kicks in because it's like there's just too much. Where do you start? Which
Yeah.
is important. We talk a lot on here about like what success means. I guess thinking of your journey the last few years and like being very much on a job, how do you define success and what does it mean to you?
I think definitely nowadays, at one point, maybe about 2 years ago, success for me was, hitting those 5K, 10K plus months. That was probably a success when I was kind of mid-20s. Now that I've got a house, and, married and a bit more serious, it's balance is my main thing. Like I want to be able to go to the gym. I want to be able to go to my dance classes. I want to be able to spend time with friends, but equally, I want to have a sustainable, thriving business. So it's finding that balance of being able to give the high quality service that I love giving people, but equally being able to switch off every now and again as well. And, take like at Christmas time, I took 4 weeks off, which
Wow.
was unreal. I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, it didn't help I had a wedding in there as well, but it was just like, wow, I could never imagine being able to do this at any other point in my life than right now. And it was just so incredible. And it's funny because my husband still has his kind of, I say 9 to 5, it's a bit more than that, but he's like an engineer on the field. And it's so funny. We were literally talking about booking our second holiday this year, and he was like, don't have any annual leave left, can't do it. And you're like,
Oh,
oh
right. Yeah,
God.
yeah,
And it's all those things that you don't think about, like with people, especially because I've never had a proper um employed job before. I've always just had like Saturday jobs and things, and I just got straight into self-employment after university. So like I've never had that real constraint of like holidays and all this kind of
yeah.
thing before, or having to have that balance of things. So it's funny now that I'm like, oh, I can do whatever I like, but then forgetting that not everyone has that luxury, and
Yeah.
that's for me is what success is.
You're so right there. I remember again leaving and I guess I was very flexible. I was leading teams, so I could do the hours I pretty much wanted and around things. So my life was very flexible. But absolutely things like the annual leave and things like that's a completely different conversation. And my fiance works in London again, so he's shift work, so it's
Yeah,
very different. So like we do have a flexible in that, but part of that for me has always been about like you just said, like I wanted the freedom just to go to the gym when I want in a day, and I can do
yeah,
that, and that's okay, and I can work till 1 a.m. if I really wanted to, or I
yeah,
can switch off at 12 p.m. and go and pick my niece up and have a nice afternoon and stuff. And that's again, I guess what we're demonstrating here is that you can create that. It wasn't overnight. That took me a good years.
yes, yeah,
um, but it is, and that's the vision. And like you're sharing there about not having a so like you say proper job, but it's like we'll define a proper job. But
yeah,
also, you know, that's the path that you've decided to take and you've gone from it and fair play. And if you like we
yeah,
said earlier, if you do the work and you want that, you've got that vision for where you want to be, go and create it. There is so many more choices for people than they allow themselves to believe. We're so much more potential, I think, than we think we do have. But you've got to make the commitment and you've got to have the courage to just go for it. And like you're sharing and I'm sharing here, like we're talking about our one thing, but we can
yeah,
complement them together as well. But you have to find that for where's the demand of what people want right now and listen to that. Even if your
100%.
idea is great and you love it, this passion, like, is it what people want? Because
Yeah.
that's the difference in something like building a hobby versus a business.
1,000%. And like I've made those mistakes where I've launched an online course for people who want to learn about Instagram and it flopped because realistically the audience don't want that because they don't have the time for social media anyway. So why are they going to take the time to build a to do a course to learn about social media to then implement it? And it's finding that balance. It's finding that balance of you need to actually do the work and the deep dive into what is it people actually want, what is their struggle, what is the objection of why they're not, jumping on it today and they're waiting maybe a year, for example, to take that opportunity. And it's that kind of level that people need to dive deeper into than, looking at that top line of they
Mm,
just don't have time for social media. But
mm.
why do they not have time and what will they
Yeah.
do when they've got that time back? And it's thinking of all that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, it's great. I think I talk a lot about ideal client, and I think people think it's a quick thing or it's oh, here she goes again, it's boring. It's like, but we change, like we adapt, we are constantly changing what we want all the
Yeah,
time. And again, like we said earlier, like if our audience's attention is we're doing the same, exactly the
yeah,
same thing, and we want the next thing, or we're there, or we're everywhere, and it's being able to focus on again dropping the emotion like what do people really want and just sticking to that. And it's not about the superficial stuff of like what hobbies do they have and all this. Like we can know that as a ballpark, but like what is the real thing that what's the objection to them investing? What is it
yeah.
that like really gets them up at night, that keeps them up all the time, or that they're saying in their head but they don't say out loud to people? And I always use the
Yes.
analogy a bit, talking when you do niching work, but if you're a like wanting to lose weight, you're probably not going to put out there of, oh, I just feel overweight and not energetic. You're like in the mirror, you'll be looking and going, I'm fat. I can't do my jeans up. I want to walk down a beach and someone wink at me and I want to feel sexy and I want to
Yeah,
have great sex. Like, but we don't say those things. And I said, that's the depths of what you've got to get into with
yeah,
knowing where your ideal client's at, what are they really saying, and speak to that and have that is where your messaging gets relatable and resonates. So they
exactly.
literally come to you going, like one of my clients, bless her, she's like, you're literally in my head at the moment. I was like,
That's what you want, though. That's
if you want
exactly what you
that,
want.
it's so important. And that's the stuff that takes the time. And that's the stuff you
Yeah,
have to do research on. That's where you do, like you say, you'll do a thing and it flops and it doesn't work. You're like, actually, I just didn't do this, or actually that
yeah.
doesn't, it's not wanted. I need this. And that's the pathway.
That's it, exactly that. And it's remembering that it's kind of like what I said, although balance is what I see as success
Mm,
now, it took me 3 years plus, I would say, to actually get to that point of, okay, now I'm seeing what success is to me because
yeah.
I did do the yeah, the 2 EMs. I've had 9 social media management clients and earning like £1,000 from 9 people. Like I've been there and I've done it.
Yeah.
And it's like that is just what's fueled the fire to then get me to the point where I am at now. And it's not a quick fix. It's not a short-term game. Business is a long-term thing. You've just got to keep adapting, keep learning, and keep growing.
Yeah, you've got a great head on your shoulders. It's a great conversation. Again, it's that I'm always saying to people, just have more conversations with people and
Yeah.
genuinely help people move forward. And that's where you expand and grow as well. Where can people connect with you and find out more about what you do?
Of course. So Instagram is my go-to space, and it's just at Rose and Thistle Social. I'm also on LinkedIn under Abigail Mills,
Nice.
and that's the top 2 places to find me.
Where do you prefer?
Instagram. It's my
Really?
safe space. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Your safe space, right? Stay like
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's my favorite place.
I do like LinkedIn. I just need to give it a bit more time.
I'm also the same. Actually, I've taken loads of time off LinkedIn, and actually yesterday I made a post saying like definitely taking this week off posting after launch, but I'm coming back. I'll be there, I promise. So
Yeah.
that's my goal actually for the next kind of couple of months is to actually stick at LinkedIn.
Yeah, and that's important. I think, like you said, balance. Like I used to hate the word. I was like, you can't have balance all this, but like I think probably maturity as well and get a bit older, but you see things. It's a bit more, as my friend says, it's like the seesaw, and it doesn't have to be that. It's just like it's not balanced, straight, and perfect. It's I've got
No,
this and that.
exactly.
It's not about that all the time. It is going to be there's like this we've talked seasons, and like you've just said about launch, like you're all in, and that's
Yeah,
that. But then, like you just said, you do have to manage yourself and say, and it's a skill to say, no, I have time off after because I emotionally need to reset, recover,
that's
um,
it.
get my energy back, and then go again. And that's the art of knowing that in yourself is a skill to have.
Yeah. Whereas before I've probably been like, launch done, what's the next thing? Let's just go
Yeah.
full ham. And then yeah, in about 3 months' time I'd be lying in my bed probably for a week,
Yeah.
ill as hell.
That's experience. Some of us, as much as we can teach it and say it and tell people and share it on here, like don't do it, but
Yeah,
you need to kind of sometimes you just go and do it
do
and
it.
learn, but learn fast and fail fast with it. It's so important.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
Abigail, it's been a great conversation. Thank you so much for your time, and let's get some people to connect with you.
Of course. Thank you very much for having me.
If this episode gave you something to think about, helped you in any way, or just made you feel seen, do me a favour. Hit subscribe, leave a quick review, and maybe share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to dive deeper or need help, reach out. I'd love to hear from you. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time.